Hello tech friends, and welcome to another episode where we're today looking at a PDA, another one. This one's a bit different. They're all a bit different, aren't they? This is the Sharp Iq, and it sort of looks like you open it the wrong way round. The hinge is on this side and the text is this way up. Let's have a little look around the device. We've got two screws here and you can access the batteries by getting inside here. You've got a very deep reset button. And on here, I'm going to open this up and reveal how cool this one looks with all the buttons on the right hand side with really nice pushy buttons. We've got the screen here on the left, and then we've got this section down here which is for expansion cards. And if I pop open the release catch there, and then I can push this down to eject it, here we go. This is like a dummy card that comes with it, but you can slot different ones in here to have lots of different functions, and then this front area becomes another keypad for any buttons that you're pressing, which I think is pretty cool. On the side, I'll have to open it up again, we've got another port there of some kind, and on the top we've got another port, and it says in the instruction manual for this that you can connect a cassette recorder or a printer or a computer to it. So it's it reminds me a bit of the Psion organizers, where they are a stock device, but you can add a lot of functionality to them, which you couldn't do with a lot of PDAs from around the same sort of time. And speaking of time, it's probably about 1988-89 from my limited research that I've done. So let's reset it by prodding this a few times. I'm not sure if the reset button actually really does work on it. It doesn't seem to click exactly when I do it. But let's open it up. We'll turn it on, and we'll take a closer look. Okay, here it is. Open. It's quite a large device. It's about this big by this big, kind of square. That's the precise size. Let's turn it on. We've got quite a lot of dedicated buttons. So we've got the keyboard here in terms of text input, but it's not in a QWERTY layout. So A to Z, again, similar to the Psion organizer. We've got a numerical input down the bottom, and we've got common features that you'd associate with a calculator, you know, divide, multiply, all that sort of stuff. Then you've got the individual sort of built-in functions here. So we've got a calendar, schedule, telephone directory, memo, calc, card, and that's to control this in the bottom left hand corner, so that won't really do anything because I don't have any extra cards at the moment. And then we've got world time, and we've got home time, off and on, up, down, left, right, and then sort of searching, sort of page search sort of buttons as well. And a lot of the buttons have an additional function, so if you press shift, you can access the blue colors there. Right, let's turn it on and see what we've got. So as I suspected, the actual device has not reset itself. It's actually still on 2023. When you do first turn this on, it's like 1989, but it's remembered what I've put in there. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the reset button underneath is a little bit damaged or something like that. So let's go from right to left, from easy to hard. But before we do that, let's adjust the contrast. So if I press shift and B, we get function, and this is the sort of setup menu that we've got here. And you'll notice there's a line of LED pixels which isn't actually working on this device, but I thought, hey, it was so close to working perfectly, I thought you'd like to see it anyway. So let's press 2 to change the contrast, and we'll just make this a little bit easier for you to see. Let's see, let's put it about there for you there. Then we press CCE on this screen. Obviously that's not an intuitive button to press, is it? And then that takes you out of the menu. But there are some other things that you can change in there as well. Check on the memory, you can set an alarm, and you can delete lots of data, so sort of like a reset. And then if I go on to the next page, I've got a setup one here, and if I press 1 to go into it, we've got the date format. And let's see, can we change that to something a little bit more non-US centric? Day, month, year. That's nice, isn't it? And then if we go down to calendar format, Sunday to Saturday, it's telling you which day of the week we're starting on. Let's change it to Monday to Sunday instead. So it's a bit more work based, and then our display is, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, what I would recognise as your regular calendar. And you can see the day we've got here is flashing. That's today, but it's flashing because it's selected on this screen. It's got a little dot on there, which indicates that that there's an appointment on that day that's already been set. But we'll come back to that in a moment, because we're going to whiz along the top right hand corner first. Calculator. What could be better than a calculator that lets you put functions in? And notice how the commas are above the numerical line, which is a bit unusual, because you've actually got the space on this screen to change it, haven't you? So it could have been a little bit higher up. But, you know, I mean, that's a calculator. Is that really going to do anything that special? Probably not. 38 million. That's exactly the calculation I was expecting to happen. So I think we're happy with that. Let's go over to the Memo. And so for Memo, it's just a text file editor, if you like. So I'll show you how text input works on here. So obviously we have to start each one with hello tech friends. Let's just start typing it in. If I press the letter H, we also get the letter H, caps. Let's put lowercase letters in as well. Hello. Should we go for capital T, tech, friends. I wasn't actually looking at the display as I typed that in. So maybe I've done that incorrectly. Can I just do backspace? Yes, BS for backspace, not anything else. And then we hit enter. Oh, it says tech friends. Is that what I wanted? Oh, hello. Okay. What's happened there is I've pressed enter, which actually saves the text, but there's a little alternative enter button, carriage return, line feed, whatever you want to call it, next to it, and that's what I should have pressed rather than hitting enter. So I've hit the wrong button, haven't I? Well, let's edit it. I'll show you how we can edit something. If I press Shift and A, that goes into edit mode. Quite a weird way to do that. And then we've got the word hello there, and then I can scroll left and right and maybe put a space in there. Let's say hello world, and then we can pretend that we're into basic programming as well. What about an exclamation mark? I hear you cry. SMBL symbol. Here we go. Now look at that. You've got all those different symbols which I can access easily by pressing one of the number keys. And I can go up and down, sort of page up and down, and I can select different ones. So there we are. Let's press 0, and then that's the exclamation mark. And then if I hit enter, that's that record saved there. So we've got hello, capital, hello world, and then tech friends. So if I search for, if I put in T, if I just go back to there, it's got a question mark there. If I press T and down, I think. Let's try it with the capitals. Will it let me search? Yes, there we go. So it's case sensitive search on here, and it's gone straight to that one rather than having to cycle through all of the entries that are in here. So let's go over to the telephone mode. Have we got anyone in here already? Hey, we do. We've got Bob Edwards. That's the name of the person it told me to put in the manual. So, you know, got to follow the instructions as closely as possible. So we got Bob Edwards there. We got his telephone number 0898 50 50 50. We got a fax there 655 254. He lives in Business Land in Arkansas. Okay, great, absolutely great stuff. So shall I edit that one? And you can see you can actually sort of add extra lines to it. If I hit the carriage return button there, it just moves it down, and there doesn't really seem to be, I mean, it asks you to put the name in, it asks you to put the telephone in. Actually, if I just do a brand new one, let's call him Silly Billy. So Billy for the surname, space, we'll just do it in capitals, silly, here he is. He's such a silly Billy, that boy. And then if I hit the carriage return, it will continue on the same sort of text entry, but if I press enter, now it's asking me to put a telephone number in. So let's just do that. And then if I go down onto the next line, I could be typing something else in here, but it still thinks it's the number. And then if I hit enter, I've got an address that it wants me to put in. I hi, za. And there we go. So that's that again. this is quite a nice layout in terms of the size of the screen, so you can see an entire entry pretty much in one go, depending on what information you show on there. There is an option to change the row height. So if I think it works on this one. If I press Shift and yes, here we are, Shift and 4 or 8 lines. That's what that button does there. And look, as you can see, the text is much larger. Good for aging eyes, but not ideal if you want to just see a small amount of information on the screen at any one time. Okay, moving along, the schedule. Well, I'm late. I'm late for my 10 o'clock appointment today to pickle my walnuts. This is scrolling through the days now, going up and down. So Sunday the 22nd, Monday 23rd. Let's see if we can put something in. If I just start typing, I think it will just start taking it. Let's see. Will it let me just do that? Well, it's let me put that in, but that's not quite what I was after. I wanted to actually put in a time. So let's try hitting the button again and seeing if I can add an entry. Should I press insert? Or just start typing? Okay, we use the numbers. There we go. We use the numbers to indicate what time of the day. We've got a 12 o'clock appointment, which is going to run until 13 o'clock. And we'll hit enter, and then we can type in whatever text relates to that particular appointment time. What should we do for lunch on Tuesday? Are you feeling fruity? Eat fruit. That's my advice. Eat fruit. It's actually quite hard to type this in. I'm doing a bit of hunting around for the letters. I've hit enter again instead of the space bar. So now it just says fruit. Well, it's fruit, okay. That'll do though, won't it? And then if I press the calendar button, now it's flashing on the 24th because that's the last one I was looking at. And it's got 2 little dots on there to indicate 2 different appointments, the A1 and the one about the fruit. And then you can see the day before on the 23rd, that's got an appointment on it as well, and the 22nd as well. So those are all of your appointments. And if I can scroll through the month, it says in the manual that it knows the dates up until the year 2099. Imagine still using this in 2099. So yeah, it's got a nice display, nice big square display to show the entire calendar. Not everything has that. And if I press the calendar button again, it'll swap to a weekly view. So actually, let's just go back to the month that we're actually in, so you can see how appointments look in there. And I'll just move up and down to let's say down to the Monday one there, 23rd. And if I press calendar, there we go. You can see on Monday I've got A, and on Tuesday I've got fruit. I thought I put 2 on Tuesday. Well, I'm sure that's my mistake. And if I go back a week, yeah, there we go. Pickle walnuts still in there. That's an important appointment. I'm sorry I missed that today. So that's the calendar. And then if you press the calendar button one more time, we switch to a daily view. And that tiny little indicator there indicates the time that the appointment is. And if I change that to a later day, there we go. Fruit, or at least eating something between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. So you could just about see that. If I change that, try and change it to 8 lines to try and zoom in a bit. It doesn't work on this. It doesn't work on everything. If I go back to the schedule though, I think it works on that. Yeah, there we go. We can get larger text at the top. Or in the middle of the screen, actually. It hasn't changed the text at the top. Right, what else have we got? We've got our home time. So I'll press home, and quite an unusual feature here. I only get a couple of seconds to look at it. I press home, and here we are, London. It's gone. It's gone as soon as I've selected it. But if I press Shift and Home, I can actually edit the time. So I'll just show you that. I can choose from lots of different cities. Here we are, Kampala, Uganda, London, Montevideo in Uruguay. I apologise for the pronunciation, of course. Albuquerque, USA. Loads and loads of those. So I can pick one of those. Where should we go? Should we go to Indianapolis? Why not? So that's been set. And if I go to set it, the time and the date, now it says it's 8:54, which I guess is what time it must be in Indianapolis right now. So that's just a normal input section there to put in your date and time. Nothing too fancy to say about that. So there we go. This is its sort of default set of functions. As I say, you can get cards and you can plug these in there, and if I ever get any of those, then I will show videos of it, because I think that will really show off the capabilities of this device. But overall, it's got quite a nice feel and sort of design to it. These buttons feel really nice, and it beeps a lot. Beeping's important, although you can turn that off. I think there's a shortcut for it. If it's annoying, you can press shift and left, and it turns that off. And you can edit in silence. So, you know, obviously alarms and things like that. And it's got a little password function on it as well, so that you can hide your data away in case anyone gets hold of your Sharp Iq-7000. There we go. I think that's quite a nice bit of kit. I don't think that would fit in the top pocket though. This is definitely a trouser PDA. Thanks for watching.